Good morning. Good Saturday morning, and thank you for joining Empowered by DNA with Nikkei. We are having dialogue, networking, aspire. I didn't have an opportunity this morning to share it to my Empowered by DNA, but I will get that done today. I am sorry, I'm having a moment here. I'm breaking out in a sweat. And so I will get that shared to my Empowered by DNA Facebook page as well a little bit later today. And so I am excited today. We're going to talk about change, embracing change. But before we do that, I have got to put my plug in as we start, as we end. I've got to invite you. If you have not already registered, please, please, please register for this year's 2024 Women's Empowerment. It's going to be amazing. I know I've said it over and over again, but I promise you, if you come and be a part, you're going to be blessed. This year, it'll be Friday, July the 19th, Saturday, July the 20th, and then Sunday, July the 21st. And it's going to be amazing. We're unfiltered, unveiled radiance. And so we're going to really have some great workshops, some great conversation, some great word that is going to be delivered. Networking will be available. It's going to be an amazing weekend. And so if you want to be a weekend warrior, then the registration is $30. Listen, it's not, trust me, $30 in comparison to what you will get from your swag bag, to your t-shirt, to the word that you're going to get, the encouragement you're going to get is nothing. Trust me, it's going to be an amazing, amazing time. We've got Pastor Bethany Heath coming on Friday night. Minister India Shatari is going to lead us, set that atmosphere in worship. And then Pastor Heath is going to come and deliver a mighty word for the women. I'm here to tell you, it's going to be a journey. It's going to be a fellowship. It's going to be an event, a movement happening at the Fantasy Event Center. Then on Saturday, beginning at 11 a.m., we have Elder Angela Newsom. She's going to come. Look, she's an author. She's a musician. She's a minister of music doing some just really amazing things. She's going to come at 11 and talk about worship, and we're going to get into some worship. Then Saturday at 1, Pastor Charlene Keat is going to close us out. Sunday morning at 9 a.m., I'm going to close out the entire weekend. Listen, we've got Orange Grove Missionary Baptist Church Praise Team out of Durham. If you've never heard them, alone they minister. And so listen, I'm not bragging. I'm not setting you up. I'm telling you, if you register, God is going to bless you. He's going to meet you there. Bring your journey, bring your things that you've been holding on to, and we're going to become unfiltered. We're going to become unveiled. We're going to get behind the veil. We're going to get with Christ, with Jesus. Listen, God's going to do something in us spiritually, and I'm telling you, I am looking forward to it. We've been doing this empowerment weekend with women for years, and it's going to be great. So I invite you to come and be a part of it. It's going to be amazing, ladies. Listen, gentlemen, if you're a follower of mine, I've sent you a coupon. Share it with your wife, your sister, your friend, whoever, and invite them to come out. Give them your promo code and let them use that. Listen, if you follow me, I need you to check your messenger because I sent it a while ago. It's in your messenger, your message. Facebook Messenger. I sent you a promo code, and that promo code will give you a discount for registration, whether you're registering for Friday night, Saturday, or the entire weekend. Okay. And so you can register individually. And if you're asking how, there is a link out there, but there's also, you can go to faithzoneministries.org. And if you scroll down like a half of a scroll, you'll see a wealth of information about the Empowerment Weekend, what you can expect, what we'll be discussing. And then there's also a link there for you to click to register. Also, if you are a vendor, listen, I'm looking for those small businesses that are selling products that women are interested in, that can be empowering, that can bless them, that they'll be interested in purchasing. Also on that same faithzoneministries.org, right up under registering for the Empowerment Weekend is a link to register as a vendor. It's $10. I'm sure you will walk away with more than that. So, register for $10, get your spot. I don't have a lot of vendor spots. So first come, first serve. So you want to get on in here and get your spot as a vendor and come and be a part of this empowering weekend. Okay. It's a weekend of sisterhood. It's a weekend of blessings. And I really believe that the women of God are going to bless us exceedingly, extremely. So that is my plug for the morning. Yes, I have to put it in there because I just don't want you to miss this. It's gonna be amazing. I'm telling you. Fire is all I keep seeing. It's going to be fire. Okay, so let's get in our conversation this morning real briefly here. And I know that it's early for some, so some of you will catch me a little bit later today. Some of you may be on Podbean listening to me now. And then those of you on YouTube, good morning. Good morning to you on Facebook. Listen, we're going to talk about change. What about it? Let's talk about embracing it. We are living in truly some changing times. I don't care what generation you're in. Change is inevitable and it is happening as we speak. Okay. If nothing else, every 8 years, we got to change, or every 4 years, right? We got to change. We have a change in leadership. And so we're dealing with that now as well. So I like to define on Empowered by DNA. And I believe on Faith Zone's Facebook, you can catch a sermon that I ministered last Thursday, talking about riding the waves of change. Is really good. If you get opportunity, check it out. But defining change is to alter or modify. And so I don't care where you work, where you live, whether you're male, whether you're female. Inevitably, change is going to happen. There's nothing that we can do about that, right? We are going to experience change in these bodies. Hello. Joints and stuff don't move like they used to. Stuff doesn't sit like it used to. Okay. We don't feel as good as we used to. We don't look as young as we used to. Okay. And so things are always changing. Our jobs, are not the way they used to be, right? Initially, we may have come into a company doing one thing and now we're doing something else, or maybe the process has changed, the way we used to do it. Now we don't do it like that anymore. Ministries are changing, right? Everybody's trying to adapt to the changing generation, the changing world. Look, even the generations are changing. From my mother's generation to my generation to my children's generation to their children's generation. Each generation brings about some change, right? How they think, how they view things, how they live. Our skill sets have to change. And so it's important that we embrace it. Listen, life. Let's talk about that change for a minute, right? Life. When I think about, and today, for those of you who've been following me and been in conversation with me, yes, I'm finally cleaning out that closet, like for real this time. Me and my husband are literally hunkered down, and we are in here trying to organize, to get things straight, to clean things out, throw things out. Listen, so we can have some change. Some things are changing. And so, some things we can't wear anymore. Some things are not stylish anymore. Some things we just don't need anymore. And so we're cleaning out. And so when I think about that, I started looking through pictures and, I found some of my baby pictures. I was like, oh, and then I found some where I was in elementary school and middle school and high school and, college when I was a mother. And I started looking through these pictures and I'm just like, wow. When I first got married 32 years ago, I said, wow, look at that. I look at my children. I look at when they were babies and how now they're grown. So changing. I look at my face, how much it has changed. And then I just look at my life, how it's changed. I've gone from being dependent upon my parents to being independent of my parents to giving birth to my own children, watching them grow, and then ultimately them becoming independent of me, right? I've gone through the empty nest. I'm there now. The nest is empty. I try to fill it with the grandkids every now and again. You know what I'm saying? So we're changing and we're having to adapt. Listen, some of you have had to change because you've lost a loved one. And so now you're having to adapt from going to married to single. Some of you are having to adapt from going from single to married. Some are having to adapt from being just two married people with no children to now being parents. And so we're having to adapt. There's always something changing, and we have to embrace it. And what I mean by that is sometimes, most of the time, especially on our jobs, we have a tendency to not embrace change. We want to fight it. We want to debate with it. We want to, why can't it just stay the same? I like it the way it was. It was nothing wrong with how we did it. In fact, it was better. Now you've added a system. Now you've added AI. Now you've added a new software for me to learn. Now you've added, a new process, a new procedure, a new policy. Things are always changing. But I've learned that if I embrace it rather than fight it, I begin to understand a lot faster what I can gain from it, right? So I understand that my life today will not be the same tomorrow. There's going to be a change. One, I'll be a day older than I am today. And so we have to embrace these things. And I think it's harder sometimes to embrace the changes that we weren't expecting or that we didn't want, more so than we can embrace the changes that we've actually caused, like saying I do, right? That's a good change. I'm going from being a single lady, a single man, to now being someone's spouse. And so I embrace that, right? Because that's a change that I've been looking for. But what about the person that's battling divorce, right? It's not a change they expected when they got married, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 25 years ago, 35 years ago. Yes, there people are getting divorced after that many years. Now you find yourself in a place of change, because now I was once in a partnership and now I'm by myself. Right now I'm not, I don't have that other person attached to me, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. Yeah, there were some things that were not right, or that weren't pleasant for me during that time period. Okay. But now I'm here. I'm here in a different place, and somehow I've got to be okay with it. Okay, somehow in this moment I've got to be okay with my changing situation. So how do I embrace this? How do I embrace the fact that what once was no longer is? Okay, and so we have to embrace that. We have to um, fix our mind around, there's nothing I can do about this particular change, right? A decision has been made. We've decided as a couple that we're just not going to work out. It's not going to work. We've tried. Or maybe there was an abusive situation and I had to get out. Or maybe I made a mistake and this just wasn't the person for me. So somehow I've got to embrace this new thing, right? Because now I no longer have to seek somebody else's approval or agreement to do something. Now I can just do it. Well, that might be a plus for you, right? But it may not be. But now what do I do when I start thinking back on the things that that we used to do, or the memory of the person that I had, how do I handle that? And again, I always tell you, I'm not a counselor. Good morning, Overseer Bettina. So glad to see you joining us. I got to get her on this show here real soon. But how do we deal with the changes? How do we deal with these changes in our life every single day? Something is changing, right? And so we talked about relationship changes. And so one thing I will say is, when you look at relationship changes, one thing I talked about on last week was two agents of change. One was renewal and one was regeneration. And so I would say where there is a breakup, right, then that agent's going to be regeneration, right? So something's going to become new because we're removing, or something has been removed from us, and it's gone. So now we're going to deal with regeneration. How do we come out of this? How do we regenerate, be better with this? How do we be able to sustain in this situation? Because income may change, right? And so you've got to figure out, do I need multiple streams at this point? Do I get a part-time job? Or maybe Hello, DNA people. Maybe it's something that God has already put in me to do as a business. Maybe it's a book I'm supposed to write, and that book is going to bless me financially. Maybe it's a product that I've developed that's going to bless me financially. So, again, change is hard, depending on which way. But even if you're getting married, right? You're gaining a partner in your life. That change can also be hard, right? Because you're used to doing what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, coming and going as you please. Don't really, have to uh, um, answer to anybody. And now you've got to live with somebody. You're going to see them all the time. Now you've got to kind of plan accordingly. You can't just fly off where you want to go and do what you want to do. So again, change. We've got to embrace it. And I know it sounds weird. I know you're saying like, okay, Nichole, you keep talking about this change and embracing it. But my body is changing. My mind, I'm forgetful. Hello. I don't remember things like I used to. I don't look like I used to. Sometimes I look back in those old photo albums. I'm like, ooh, girl, if I could get back to that size, if I could, get back to that youthfulness, if I could have that energy again. But I'm learning to embrace where I am and be okay with it and say, okay, this is where I am now. What can I do in this season of my life? What can I do? I may be in a season of grieving where I've lost my loved one. So some days are good, some days are bad. Some days I'm struggling, I'm surviving. Some days I feel like I'm thriving. And so I would say embrace each day. Don't worry about tomorrow. Take it day by day. The changes are day by day. Today, this is the day I have, and these are the changes that I'm battling with today. And it could be affecting my self-esteem. So I may need to encourage myself or get around some people, some positive influence, positive people that influence me positively. That's a mouthful. I need to get in with them, and maybe my sisters can empower me and help me understand that it's okay. But I'm still beautiful. I'm still wonderful. I've got a little bit more wisdom than I had before. Maybe the hair color's a little bit whiter than it was before. Maybe the vision, hello, is not as strong as it used to be. Glory to God. I don't have 20/20 anymore. Maybe I have to sit further away or closer up to see things. Yes, change is coming. Maybe I had to go back to school, get my degree. Maybe I need to update my skill set for the changing times. Because one thing is for certain, change is coming. It's going to happen. And it's going to happen whether you embrace it or not. It's just going to be more of a struggle for you if you fight against it, if you resist it, meaning you push against it. You're not going with the flow of the change. A prime example for those of you who may be looking at change in your career, we could fuss about the change, or we could get the necessary skill set to prepare for the change. We all know that AI is everywhere, and I always say AI is really not that new, maybe just new in the way that we use it right now. But we could complain about it, right? We could fuss about AI, and there's so many debates about the good, the bad. But with everything, there's good. And then there's bad. It depends on the user of the software. And so I would say with that, you want to empower yourself by building your skill set. Get to know what AI does. Figure out how you can utilize it in your business, in your ministry. Don't be afraid of it, but embrace it, because there's something in the change in that particular software that could really be a blessing to your business. It could really be a blessing to your ministry. It could be a blessing to you on your job. Now you're more knowledgeable and able to give input into the thing that you probably are actually fearing. And I think we fear change because we don't always understand it, and we don't always know how to wrap our minds around the thing that's changing. And so I would say embrace it, grow with it. If something on your job, if there's a new policy, get to understand it and know it. Know it better than anybody else. And I promise you that change will become a stepping stone in your life. Change is inevitable. We have got to embrace it. Listen, um, there are people that come in and out of our lives, and not necessarily by death, but maybe our friendship circles have changed because we've evolved. We've evolved. I think sometimes that's why marriages struggle, because we evolve into a different person. Our changes, our desires, our wants, our career goals, our retirement goals, all that stuff starts to change. When I was 20, I had a different type of mindset, a different goal. Some things I wanted differently than I do right now. My focus has changed. My husband's focus has changed. And so you have to make sure that you're embracing that evolution of that person, who they're evolving into, who they're growing. Another word for evolve is just grow, to change, right? We're changing into different individuals. I don't know why at one given point in my life, I thought I'd be the same person. I'd never change, but experiences cause us to change, right? The things that we experience in our life, life happens, right? And when it happens, that causes us to change how we feel about things. I know since the pandemic, right? I know a lot of us are trying to put in the back of our mind and forget it, but I often go back and revisit, because some of the things that have changed in my life, or I have changed, or my thought process has changed, or my goals, or what is now important to me has changed because of the pandemic. Because for 2 years there were things that I really wanted to do, people I wanted to connect with, and I couldn't, because we weren't allowed to go outside of our homes. And so now I'm embracing and loving time spent with family, time spent with friends. Instead of hunkering down and just work, 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 work all the time, I'm putting everything in its proper perspective, and I'm doing my job and trying to do it to the best of my ability and doing it well, and honing in on those skills that I need to keep up with the growing market and change. But I'm also realizing, hey, it's Saturday. This is time to be with my grandchildren, or time to be with my family. Listen, I am so grateful, and I'm very humble, because the pandemic taught me tomorrow isn't promised. We just don't know. And so we need to make time for things. So now I'm more of a family oriented person, and less of a I got to work, work, work person, or ministry all the time person. I'm learning to space things out, and put everything in its proper bucket. Today, these 3 hours are for family, and these 3 hours are to focus on work, and these 3 hours are to focus on ministry, and these two might be to clean out my closet and go organize for the rest of the week. So listen, change is inevitable, and I want you all to think about it. Think about what's changing in your life that you're fighting and resisting against, and stop resisting for a minute, stop fighting for a minute, and think about it, and think about how this might actually be a blessing for you. The fact that and even if it's not a good thing, right? Because we do have changes that we still deal with and battle with, that didn't feel good and we didn't ask for, and you really don't want it. And no matter what explanation you give me, it's just not going to help me understand how this is okay. But I would say, for the other changes in your life where now you may find yourself with a little bit more time, or maybe you're like me and turned into your mother, and you're up at 4 a.m. and you're ready to go to sleep by 7 p.m. Okay. How can I utilize that time? How do I change my environment to meet the changing needs of my body, my mind, my emotions? I, I I get counseling now, right? There was a time and place. You didn't do that. You just dealt with it, prayed about it, called somebody else about it. But we're learning as this world changes, that there are things that we need. So I need to get my mental health in order, and so I may need to talk with someone, and that's good. And I'm going to always say that on this show. Talk to somebody, get your counselor. There's nothing wrong with it, because I believe that the changing environment that we're in, the fact that we went through a pandemic and came out of it, there are some things that we need to deal with in this mind so that we can be healthy mentally. Listen, you can be healthy physically, but if this isn't right, you're still not healthy. And so we want to be healthy 100% all the way around, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. We want to be healthy. And so things are changing. So listen, this is my time. I'm getting ready to wrap up here. I've got some great previous shows if you've never watched them. Look, the Napper Singers last week. I loved it. I had a ball. Listen, you all make sure you go and buy your ticket for their 66 years, I believe, in singing and ministry and gospel. Buy your ticket and help them celebrate. It's amazing. Hello there, Robin. So good to see you, my friend. Counselor. Yes, she knows exactly what she's talking about. She's a counselor. Yes, counseling is very, very, very important. And especially when you're talking about change, because sometimes you'll need somebody to talk it out with. Listen, just because you get counseling, it doesn't necessarily mean, and I'm going to say it's not a bad thing at all. It's a good thing. I think it's a bad thing when you don't seek counseling. You don't go sit down and talk to somebody. And sometimes talking to somebody who doesn't know anything about you can be the best therapy of all, because their opinion is a licensed one, versus an unlicensed opinion, which can be dangerous. Okay, so yeah, so good to see you. I got to get you on the show as well. Look at all these people coming in. I need to reach out to, so we can have some good conversations on mental health. Yes. So again, I do invite you to embrace change today. Listen, if your body doesn't allow you to run, glory to God, those 10 miles you used to, go with the 4. Hey, long as you're getting something in. Sometimes you do have to sit down and say, whew, I'm not that young person I used to be, so I'm going to have to take a little break in between some of the stuff that I want to do today, and it's okay. It's just where I am. It's the season I'm in. Maybe I'm not in the season of being friends with this particular person. It doesn't mean I've thrown them away. I speak every now and again. We just don't have a lot in common to talk about like we did back in college or high school or whatever, and it's okay. Change is good. Um, Not all change feels good, but change is good. Change really is a good thing. You just have to learn to embrace it and figure out this place I'm in. How do I handle it? How do I deal with it? And so as I close, renewal again and regeneration. I didn't really get into it, but there are two very strong agents of change. And renewal again is something being renewed, something being. Let me go to my notes. Renewal is actually a process of restoring and refreshing something that already exists. And regeneration involves complete transformation. And so the best example I have of regeneration, of course, are your cells in your body, and then that caterpillar and the butterfly. How the caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, and so those are two agents of change that I think sometimes, to me, are very difficult. Renewing, to me, is probably a little bit easier than regeneration, because something is being um, transformed, and I believe transformation is very painful. So listen, this has been my time, and I'm not gonna wait on you any longer. It's a beautiful, beautiful Saturday. It's gonna be hot, so stay hydrated. Walk with your water if you're going to walk. If you're going to the park, get your big old thing of water. Water, water, water. Water is the word for the day. Make sure you get lots of water in today. Look, it's a good time to go swimming. Stay near the water. It is going to be a hot one in North Carolina. And I think across the globe, it's going to be pretty warm everywhere, anywhere from 90 to over 100 degrees. So let's stay hydrated. Let's protect our skin. Sunscreen would be the next word for the day. Put some sunscreen on, protect your skin so that you don't get sunburn or skin cancer, all of the things that happen when we get too much sun. So be careful today. Stay in the air condition where you can, okay? So this is my time. Again, if you have not registered for the Women's Empowerment 2024 unveiled on Unfiltered and Unveiled, please do so. You can register today, faithzoneministries.org. You can also go to Faith Zone Ministries Facebook. You can go to Empowered by DNA Facebook page, and there's information there. But I'm telling you, the best way to get a lot of information, also the links to register, is faithzoneministries.org. There's no www. It's just https semicolon / / faithzoneministries.org. And if you go on there, you can register. You can register for the weekend. You can register for one day, but you really don't want to miss this. It's going to be amazing. Listen, Pastor Charlene Keat is a Christian counselor and a pastor and a minister. I'm telling you, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. And I really, really want you to go out and register today. I really do appreciate you joining me, following me. I hope to talk with you soon. So see you again next Saturday morning. Bye now. You have a great day. Hello there.
Dialogue, networking inspired.
Powered by DNA. Come on, hey.
Networking inspired.
Powered by DNA.
Dialogue, networking inspired.
Powered by DNA.
With Nikki. With Nikki. With Nikki.